Missile attack and U.S. Air Force to Venezuela. Nicolas Maduro's statement and the public announcement in Caracas. The southern city of Caracas, Venezuela's capital, was targeted by several missile and air attacks. A regional power plant near a military base in southern Caracas has been completely shut down, and the local authority has announced that a missile attack has been launched on the city of Caracas, and about 10 points of the city have been targeted at the time of the report. The network announced that the sound of heavy explosions was heard in various parts of the city. According to the report, warplanes were seen down in the air, while they were flying several times to the Venezuelan capital, their specific targets for the attack. Also, reports of the explosion at the Igorote airfield in eastern Caracas have been published. At the same time, more images of Chinese aircraft flying related to the U.S. Air Force's special operations near Caracas have been published. Based on military analysis, it is estimated that in the event of any increased military operation, it will be responsible for the transfer of ground special forces. Experts believe that the presence of these weapons indicates the possibility of ground, or at least direct support of the U.S. Special Forces in the Venezuelan soil. The sound of the explosion is very similar to the sound of the Tomahawk cruise missile, which can indicate the possibility of the U.S. Navy's activities in coordination with the U.S. Air Force. Some analysts believe that the use of the Tomahawk cruise missile, which is a sign of the U.S. Navy's participation in this operation. A video of a non-military citizen driving in the streets of Caracas has also been published, while airstrikes are taking place around and in the vicinity. This video shows the intensity and proximity of the attacks to the urban and non-military areas. Reports also have a story about the explosion of an aircraft after the U.S. attack, which is believed to have been an important bomb in Venezuela. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia has issued an official statement condemning the U.S. military intervention in the Venezuelan soil. This action is a clear violation of the sovereignty of a country. In this statement, Moscow claims that the U.S. military's attack on Venezuela violates the United Nations Charter and basic principles of international law. The Russian diplomatic system also pointed out that these actions not only target the Venezuelan government, but also the security and stability of the entire Latin American region. As a result of this statement, Latin America must remain a peaceful region. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia has confirmed that the right to determine the fate of Venezuela must be determined by the people of this country, and without any foreign intervention, especially military intervention from abroad. In another part of this statement, Moscow denounces the international community for this action. Russia has emphasized the need for a solution to the crisis through diplomatic arms and talks in Venezuela without foreign intervention, and warned that military intervention could have irreversible consequences for the international system. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia has announced that it is committed to the Venezuelan people and supports the Bolivarian movement, which is trying to defend national interests and the sovereignty of their country. The U.S. prosecution of Nicolas Maduro. A U.S. senator has been arrested following the arrest of Nicolas Maduro, the president of the Republic of Venezuela. Mike Lee, a U.S. senator, announced that Marco Rubio, a U.S. foreign minister, had contacted him on the phone to inform him that Maduro had been arrested by U.S. personnel. Or coordinates of a military group from the Congress comprehensively cannot be used to indicate that. Donald Trump, an Inspector General of the United States, killed his wife in an attack he carried out on policy players. Donald Trump, an Inspector General of the United States, was arrested with his mother in the hands of Venezuelan government officials, who forced the two countrymen out of their vehicles in a fetid Estados Unidos, Vatican City, and Colombia. After Trump was arrested by the U.S. military for a period of time, he said, "Our people are united, and we will resist to prevent this invasion. We will not negotiate, we will not give up, and eventually we will win. Nevertheless, we will continue to defend our nation, and we will not tolerate any talk about freedom and independence of Venezuela. The enemy is looking for terror and terrorism everywhere in our country, but we will resist and we will defend our country against foreign interference. The Minister of Defense of Venezuela also announced that a meeting will be held all over the country, and all forces will act in accordance with the orders of the Commander-in-Chief. He said there is a complete coordination to defend the territory of Venezuela, and the main goal is to combat the threat of imperialism. In the statement of the U.S. President on the release of Nicolás Maduro, Venezuelan President Rodriguez, a supporter of the Venezuelan president, announced his deep concern about the current situation of Maduro and his wife. He said the U.S. government wants as soon as possible a document that confirms the safety of the Venezuelan president. Rodriguez described and emphasized Washington's action as a violation of all international treaties. The responsibility of Maduro and his wife is entirely on the U.S. government. Internal actions of the U.S. and regional groups in the U.S. have taken such actions. Senator Ryan Schatz, a member of the Committee on Foreign Relations of the U.S. Senate, with strong criticism of the actions of President Donald Trump, described the U.S. president's action as a fool's trip and wrote, "The United States has no national interest in Venezuela to justify a war. We must now learn not to enter another fool's trip." Meanwhile, the Islamic Republic of Palestine and the People's Republic of Palestine have strongly condemned the U.S. attack on Venezuela and declared full solidarity with the people and the Venezuelan government. Thank you for being with us until the end.